Core Recruitment as an agency, we have been working in the Middle East for a number of years, and we've never had so many requests for diverse candidates as we have right now. Now, traditionally, this has been around female diversity or gender diversity in terms of like wanting to up the numbers of females in senior management positions. But I'm very pleased to say that we've just placed our first LGBT VP who's gone into Dubai, and that organization, which is a large global company, are actually changing a lot of their policies and procedures to allow that individual to come with his husband and his 2 kids and get benefits in Dubai as well. Now, this was something which would have been completely unheard of kind of like even 3 years ago in Dubai, or I certainly hadn't heard of it in Dubai kind of like 3 years ago, especially in terms of individuals being able to be out at work and all that side of things. But how much is the Middle East changing, and do you think this is something which is going to be mirrored across different organizations, or do you think this is kind of like a bit of an isolated case?
I've been here a long time. I have my brother is gay, married to Stuart and Luke. They've been married for a few years now, and so I'm. It's very interesting. So I suppose I think change is the thing here. I know that when my brother first came out and sort of declared that he was gay, I was pretty cool with that, I suppose. But definitely my parents kind of freaked about the whole thing. It took a long time for that kind of ship to settle, and that was with their own son sort of declaring that. So they had a kind of quite a traditional British, middle class British people, pretty open-minded. And both my parents were hairdressers, so they're probably more familiar. I'm not trying to stereotype anyone here, but I think my dad was definitely in touch with his feminine side. So I think what I'm trying to say here is that was quite a challenge for him, and definitely for my mother, the idea that my brother was coming out as gay. So that was a fascinating one. I think here they've still got a way to go. It depends. The word that we like to use here is tolerant, and I think I would put it in the same kind of category as what religion you follow. The tolerant has an interesting. There's lots of ways of looking at the word tolerant. For me, it's almost like a lose-lose. But I'm kind of conscious of what I'm saying here. But we have to be very mindful that that there is a lot more tolerance here. So we now have a lot more. I mean, if I go to the Louvre, for example, on in Abu Dhabi, it's just in Saudi Island down the road from me. There's lots of kind of Jewish artifacts there. Which a couple of years we fly to Israel now. So a couple of years ago, that just would not have happened. That would never have happened. So there's a general shift in that. I think also the region just understands that the world is kind of shifting. We've recently moved to a more traditional weekend, which is very interesting. So we now work on we're off on a Saturday and Sunday. And for me, it was even hard for me, but for people who have been traditionally been off on a Friday, Saturday for 2 millennia, for them shifting into a slightly different weekend pattern is hard. So I think there is some change. I think change depends on the individual, and the pace that they're moving through that change depends on who they are. Definitely change depends on their culture, their background, what they believe to be right or wrong. A lot of the generation sort of Z, millennials, have been educated in the US, they've been educated in London, they've been educated in Berlin, they've been educated in Paris. So when they, of course, come back, they've obviously experienced a more tolerant society around them, and therefore they're bringing those tolerances back into their home sort of nations, which I think is important as well. So I think there's a way to go. Good on that organisation for being so being so tolerant. There's definitely a like I suppose there's a right wing kind of fraction in I've worked in Russia and we worked in the UK obviously, and there's still going to be individuals who don't think it's the right thing. So I think it's just that it will slowly sort of permeate through the region. Yeah, hopefully that gives you a basic answer to the question.